President Trump, after calling the Saudi king today, seeming to buy his explanation that if Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi was killed inside the Saudi consulate in Turkey, the hitmen were rogue killers not working for the regime.
The king firmly denied any knowledge of it. He didn't really know. Maybe, I don't want to get into his mind, but it sounded to me like maybe these could have been rogue killers. Who knows?
But it was only tonight, 13 days after Khashoggi disappeared there, that the Saudis let Turkish police inside, hours after a cleaning crew entered. And tonight, the Saudi leaders are discussing a plan to admit that Khashoggi was killed after entering the consulate. 3 people with knowledge of the situation tell NBC News. One says during an interrogation that went wrong. Asked about that, the president called it so far just a rumor. He's sending Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to Saudi Arabia to get answers. Despite the king's denials today, experts say nothing would happen at a Saudi consulate that his son, the powerful crown prince, did not order.
It would be inconceivable that such an operation would be run by the Saudis without the knowledge of the day-to-day decision-maker of Saudi Arabia. That's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
Congress now demanding that the White House stop the Saudis from buying billions in U.S. weapons. But Mr. Trump says that would hurt American workers. Still, critics say the president ignores the Saudis' terrible human rights record, unlawful killings, torture, and arbitrary arrests, just as he embraces a rogues gallery of dictators like Putin, Duterte in the Philippines, Erdogan in Turkey, even saying he fell in love with Kim Jong-un. Telling CBS's 60 Minutes,
presides over a cruel kingdom of repression, gulags, starvation, reports that he had his half-brother assassinated, slave labor, public executions. This is a guy you love.
I know all these things. I mean, I'm not a baby. I know all these things.
Why?
And tonight, more big names are dropping out of the Crown Prince's Investor Summit next week. But Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has not canceled. A spokesman telling NBC News tonight they will evaluate as information comes in this week.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.